Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to talk about how you find 55 plus options and really age restricted options and what that looks like when you may need to sell a property first. Because this is one of the biggest questions I get at the outset when I'm meeting with a new client is how do we even find what options are out there to know if this is what we want to move into? So we're going to start on that process today. For those that haven't had a chance to meet me before, I'm a previous registered nurse and home care case manager. And then I moved into working in seniors housing for many years. I've worked in non-for-profits as well as for-profits. And so now I'm a licensed real estate agent with Schmidt Realty Group, and my focus is working with the 55 plus population, but I do work with all ages and stages. And I also help people overcome housing transitions through Edmonton 55, which is another company of mine. So let's get on to this whole world of 55 plus options. So today I want to discuss what age restrictions look like for different homes that you could move into, ways to search for them, what to look for in age restricted, and just touching very briefly when you need to sell first, what does this all look like? So we're going to cover a lot of information, but hopefully it's helpful. So in Edmonton and area, most age restrictions for either condo buildings, adult bungalows, apartment styles generally fall into 18 plus, 40 plus, 45, 55 plus. There's a little bit of 50 plus, but most fall into these age categories. However, there's new legislation. It isn't taking effect right away. It's not taking effect until 2033. But as a method to manage ageism, discrimination against age, they're actually removing all age restrictions across Canada except for 55 plus, acknowledging that sometimes older adults, for their circumstances and situation in life, don't necessarily want to be around kids and young families and want a quieter, safer environment. And so the federal government is allowing a 55 plus age restriction to stay. So this makes it tricky waters for those that are looking to buy an age restricted option now, because any building that's 18 plus, 40 plus, 45 plus, 50 plus, can make a choice between now and 2033 to either eliminate the age restriction and open up to families, or move to a 55 plus age restriction and grandfather their current residents. So it means an 18 plus building can change to 55 plus and grandfather all the current families that are living there. So when we are out looking, you need to be aware that if you're looking at an age restricted building that is not 55 plus, you need to be prepared that that may change at any time between now and 2033. So it's tough, right? 55 plus is your only guaranteed option. So one of the questions I do ask my clients when we get started in finding an option is, why is age restricted buildings important to you? Why are you wanting a 55 plus? Why are you wanting an 18 plus? Because sometimes when we get down to the root reason, we actually find that the situation isn't the most particular to them. Age restricted isn't needed. So in terms of age restricted buildings, you can have a conventional condo, which is generally an apartment style condo. You can have a bare lands condo, which is a home on a piece of property that is still managed as a condominium. You can have an adult bungalow village, and you can have standalone homes that are in an age restricted community. And so there's definitely options. But as you look at age restrictions, let's compare whether you're looking at an all ages building or an age restricted, because there are pros and cons to each. And sometimes people looking for an age restricted building learn that they actually don't need age restricted. So when you are in an all ages complex, condo, adult bungalow village, whatever that may look like, the one great thing about being all ages is you have intergenerational support. If you need somebody to climb a ladder or hang a picture, there's probably a neighbor you're going to get to know who's healthy and well enough to help you with that. If you love kids, you may have a great retirement income built in, as in terms of babysitting or after school care opportunities. You may find more support from others in the building, in that there's going to be different ages, different interests, somebody that can help you with the computer, things of that nature. And it's also easier to resell in the future. There is less stigma against lenders because you have this huge population of buyers that can buy a building. And so it's very easy for a buyer to get financing in an all ages building. And sometimes you have lower condo fees just because an age restricted building might not have as many services or amenities, or sometimes they can be a larger sized building that allows more disbursement of fees. When you look at an age restricted building, it can be quieter sometimes. Because frequently what I see as I go into these buildings, especially if you're looking at a conventional apartment building, you're going to have loud TVs from those that have a hearing impairment. You may have walkers and wheelchairs and moving furniture around. So you have to really evaluate the building, even with an age restricted building. You have a similar peer group in that most residents are 55 plus. So there's kind of a 20 or 30 year span of ages. And so you may have a lot of neighbors that can quickly become friends. The social activities are generally planned for that age group in mind. So it might not be hiking trips, but it might be craft groups and card groups and potlucks and different things of that nature. It is harder to get financing approval in an age restricted building because mortgage companies are worrisome that if a buyer needed to foreclose, they have a much smaller audience that could potentially buy that condo. And so age restricted buildings do generally take longer to sell. And so mortgage companies are familiar with that and know that. So generally you don't get the best interest rates, and generally it may be harder for a buyer to secure financing in a 55 plus building. And sometimes you have higher condo fees just because it's a smaller building, or there's so many amenities, there's workshops, there's pools, there's hot tubs, there's saunas, that all of those amenities do have costs to maintain. And so you might be looking at higher condo fees in that type of situation. So what we're mostly talking about is when you're looking to purchase 55 plus options. So as a member of the public, when you are looking, you can look on realtor.ca, which is the main MLS site that most realtors post their listings to. But there's a real challenge. There is no way to search for age restricted buildings. So basically you're going listing by listing, reading the description and see if they say anything about an age restriction. Working with a realtor, we have a whole different set of tools. So we use a system called Paragon, which is a realtor access only system that allows me to search for adult living options. So right now it covers everything from 18, 40, 45, 55 plus. If it's considered and classified as adult living, it covers it all until 2033, and then it will shift to just 55 plus adult living. So on the realtor side, we still do a lot of digging to find 55 plus or different age restricted buildings, because generally we're reading the same descriptions you are, but we also have access to a section called private remarks where realtors write information that's uh, information directed at other realtors. And so oftentimes they'll put more details in that listing to us. But then it's also just general building knowledge. Because I work with 55 population, I've got lists of, which age restricted buildings are in what quadrants of the city. And so it's really easy for me to help my clients that are looking for an age restricted option to start their research. So when you're looking to own options, you're really either looking at realtor.ca or using a realtor. And on a buying side, there's generally no cost for you to use a realtor to help with that initial search and get sorted out what age restricted options would you look at, and is there other options that might better suit your needs that are not age restricted. So that's kind of the main searching options. If you're renting, if you want to rent in an adult bungalow or a condo complex, you're really using websites like Kijiji, Rent Fast, or Facebook to find owners that have posted up their rental. Otherwise, you're looking into retirement living options or seniors apartments for rentals. And those, again, there's no centralized search area, so it makes it a little bit challenging. So how do you decide when you're just thinking about leaving your family home and trying to figure out that next option? What do you do to figure out what you want for this next move? And really, I strongly suggest, if you can, preview and review choices online, whether it's realtor.ca or whether a search set up through your chosen real estate agent. Just seeing what's out there, even if it's for 6 months, a year, just get used to what's out there for pricing and amenities and what people are talking about, and drive by some of the buildings to see what the neighborhoods are like. Open houses are another great way. I have a system of notifying my clients of open houses in their chosen area. Right now, there is restrictions on open houses due to COVID. So you do have to line up. Only one household can go into a home at a time. And there is some strict safety protocols in place to safeguard yourself as well as the seller. So as open houses get more familiar, that may be an option, as well as there is a way to do virtual open houses where you can view homes from the comfort of your home. And then also going with a realtor to be shown homes that might match your criteria. Get in them, because pictures do not speak 1,000 words. You really need to be in a residence to see if it would suit your lifestyle. Will it fit your furniture? Do you like the view? Do you like the neighboring community? All of those things are so important. So as you go in and preview and look at options, there's a couple things I want you to look for when you're looking for that next move that's into sort of a 55 plus adult option. One is accessibility, because none of us know when our health or living circumstances will change. So could you move around with a cane? Could you move around with a walker? Is there hazards? Are the doorways wide enough for you to use a walker or wheelchair? Would there be enough room around your furniture to move for a walker or wheelchair? Is there enough room in the bathroom that somebody from home care could actually help you with a bath because there's room for the two of you? You need to look at those elements because you don't know when you're going to need that. And if you're planning this as a long-term home for the next stage in your life, you really want to look at that accessibility factor. Even if you don't need it now, you want to look at it down the road for the future. Community location is so important in Edmonton and surrounding areas. We are drivable communities, meaning you need a driver's license to get most places well or easily. So if you lost your driver's license, even if it was just a surgery, you broke your leg and couldn't drive for 8 weeks, what is in your community around this new residence? Can you walk to a convenience store? Is there a grocery store you can easily get to? Is there transit access? Are you close enough to doctors and your specialists that a taxi ride isn't a huge financial encumbrance? So take a look at your surrounding community. Look at your peer group. Do you have a senior center you already go to? Do you have a church group you go to? How important are those connections? And do you want to keep those connections? Because that may choose the community that you want to stay in, so that it's easy to get to your church group, either easy to stay within your community league, easy to get to a senior center, or just where your friends are. Are all your friends on the north side or the south side of the river? Your peer group is really important as you age, and so I want you to find and decide on a place that still makes it accessible for you and your peer group. Or are you looking at finding a whole new peer group? And for some people, that's important, just that most of their peer group has moved away and they need to find a new peer group. So we work on that as part of finding the right plan for you. And then look at long-term financials. If you're looking at condominiums, if you're looking at purchasing a single family age restricted home, make sure that you can handle any of the housing association fees, the condo fees, especially as they go up over time. Make sure that that's going to work well within your financial plan. And you may want to speak to your financial advisor to make sure that what you're thinking is a good range for condo fees in the long term can work well with your financial situation. So when you have to sell first, so a lot of people start their search into 55 plus or age restricted options because they know they need to move out of their large home, or they're in a poor community that doesn't fit their needs anymore, or their health has changed and they can't manage where they live currently. Doing a buy sell where you have two transactions is the most complex real estate transaction. So this takes planning, this takes coordination, this takes working with a professional that you truly trust that will help get you through the many hurdles that can come up when you're dealing with two transactions at close to the same time. So you have really two choices to decide upon. You can sell your current home first, and it means that either you have a plan to live with family for a bit, you plan to rent for a bit, or you plan to find something to buy before that possession date on your home. So sometimes we're working with longer possession times so that you've got time to find and move into your next option so that your home can be emptied for the next buyers to take it over. And that's complex. There's a lot of timing, and generally for my clients that are doing that situation where they're going to sell first, we do a lot of research before we get them to the sell point, because we need to have a lot of things ready to go fairly quickly once they do get that offer on their home. The other option is to buy first. And many of my clients find that they have the home equity in place, that they can use the value of their current home to buy their next option. And then we've got a little bit more of a leisurely time to sell the house. We can take the time to find the right home because we're not in a time pressure crunch, but then there is more pressure to get the house sold because we're usually not spending a lot of time on the market. We need to, once it's emptied or you've moved or you've purchased the other option, we need to get that other property moved. So again, takes a lot of planning, takes a lot of coordination. There's pros and cons to a sell first or a buy first. And so I work through with my clients what their initial thoughts are and what that plan looks like so that you can make sure you understand the risks, you understand the implications, and we can make the transaction happen fairly easily for you. So when you have to sell your home to get into your next home, these are the things I suggest people do early on. understand your current home's market value. Call in a realtor. They're generally no cost for a realtor like myself or anyone else you trust to come out and do an evaluation of your home, because you really can't make decisions on where you're going to move to until you know what you're either going to get out of that home or understand what the market's like for your neighborhood to sell in. Know the options you want to move into. Are you looking at an adult bungalow? Are you looking at a traditional condo? What are you going to move to? And do that research first. Understand financing options. If you are doing 2 transactions back to back, we can do what's called bridge financing, but it still takes a while to get approval. If you're going to use your home equity, then we're looking at home equity lines of credit, and that can take up to a month to get approval. So we have to make sure the financing is in place and that you understand what you qualify for, because you will be responsive possibly to the mortgage stress test. Even though you're not getting a traditional mortgage, the lenders do have more strict rules. But I work with great mortgage brokers that always find a way for my clients. But you want to know your financing options, what any payment penalties or interest look like, and how much you qualify for, so you know what value you can look for in your next home if you're reliant on that. If you're looking at using investments, then there might be some penalties for withdrawing your investments. It also may take some time to get that money out of investments. And so we need to make sure we've started that process in enough time that you can, in fact, use those investments to pay for your purchase. And then really, you're deciding whether you sell first or you buy first. And that's a very personal decision. There is no right or wrong. I can make both options work quite easily, but it depends what's going to be best for your individual circumstances. So for those that are interested in looking at 55 plus options to purchase, I do a complimentary email search. So this takes me nothing to set up. I need your name, your email address. I need to know what some of your restrictions are, parts of the city. Do you want an apartment condo? Do you want an adult bungalow? Do you want a townhouse? Is there a price range you're thinking of? And is there other features like number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, basement details, garage details? What's important to you? So you simply send me an email or give me a phone call with your parameters, and then I can set you up with a search that will send you an email list of new options that come on the market that matches your criteria, either once a day or once a week, whatever works for you, to just start doing your research. And I don't care when you're making a move. If it's in 1 month, 1 year, 5 years, it's good to know your options. And so I'm happy to set you up on an email search that fits your criteria. And I also do free home valuations, helping you understand if you sold your home today, what is its current market value and what is the market like in your specific neighborhood. I have neighborhoods right now that every home is going into multiple offers, and I have other neighborhoods that are a little bit stagnant because their population that would buy in that area has been greatly affected by our market. So every neighborhood really has a different vibe to their real estate market, and you need to understand what's going on there. So I'm happy to help in either of those ways. I do have free resources available on my website, whether it's a rate sizing guide, condo buying guide, and videos and worksheets you can find in my resource area. So jolynsellsedmonton.com/resources. And that's where I will include and post this video as well, so that you can most certainly refer back to it. Just give me a couple days to get that online. But you can also see other videos that I've done relating to real estate and your transitions there. And then I do offer a monthly newsletter. Again, just fire me off your first name and email address. I'm happy to add you to that newsletter, or use the sign up link on my website. It's once a month. I don't spam you. And every month there is an opportunity to enter to win a $200 value gift card, usually to a great Edmonton and area business. And so it's just a great way to keep on top of what's going on in the market, what you need to know. And we feature some really great communities that you might not have ever thought of being a possibility for you in your next move. So I'm going to post my contact information here in case you have any questions or concerns or want to speak to me a little bit more about your personal situation. In a moment here, I am going to turn off the recording and then we will open it up for some questions. But I hope this has given you some insight into age-restricted options, what to look for, where to find them, the pros and cons of age restrictions, and just giving some thought as to what it's going to look like for you when you have to sell something first, so that you can start deciding on the best way for you to manage this move into your next home. So I thank you so much for joining me today. I hope this has been really helpful for you, and I look forward to helping answer any questions you may have.